Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Marvelous Chats YouTube channel. We are talking about Kenobi Episode 6. This is the series finale episode. That was an absolute incredible. Can't wait to talk about it. But before we do, make sure you guys leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if this is your first time here, so you come back for all of our Marvelous Chats. We cover the MCU, the DCEU, Star Wars stuff, anything nerdy, we'll touch on it. But let's start it off. Finto, what did you think about the series finale of Kenobi?
Yeah, dude, I gotta say, everyone knows at this stage that I'm a massive Star Wars fan and I love the prequels. So I think what they did, like a lot of the stuff that they did in the show, a lot of it was done right, and the landing was perfect. Like anything to do with Vader, with Kenobi, was just fantastic. There was a couple of problems I had with the show, but we can dig deeper into that in a bit. But I want to kind of start it on a positive. I just like the rematch between Obi Wan and Vader was incredible. I loved the setting, the planet looked beautiful. I thought it was a little cheesy how Kenobi got away. It was like the Star Destroyer just couldn't hit him and stuff like that. I was like, that wasn't great, but it definitely would feel like something that Vader would do. He'd be cocky and he'd be like, "I'm going after Kenobi. I'll do it alone." And just the whole scene, the way it was shot, everything, it was just incredible. The fighting was so good. Other than that, I think I didn't like the Reva stuff. Wasn't a big fan of it at all, and I just didn't like what they did with Luke at all in it. It just felt kind of ridiculous. I thought the show though ended quite strong with Owen introducing Ben to Luke, and we got the updated hello there. I was like loving life with that. I thought that was great, and then like the way that the show kind of ended then. So obviously we get Qui-Gon Jinn, which was just, it was magical to see Liam Neeson again. It was great. It felt fantastic. It kind of does break canon a little bit because Qui-Gon himself, I don't think he was actually able to manifest himself into the Force in the canon up until now, because like a lot of people were asking the question like, well, if he could appear as a ghost, why wasn't he in the original trilogy? Like, why didn't he show up anywhere? So I've kind of like come to accept that, look, you gotta just let a few things go and just enjoy the ride that you're on, enjoy the content that you're getting. If they decide to go ahead and make 6 more episodes, and that is just like a buddy cop style kind of like show just about Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, I'd be down. I'd watch it, of course. I think it'd be great. I think they need to. Hayden was incredible. I think they need to potentially give Hayden his own show. I think it'd be really cool to watch him kind of coming off the back of this show, kind of like gathering himself up again, and fully like just becoming more of the Vader that we know by the time Rogue One comes around. And maybe if we could see him hunt down a couple of Jedi and kill a few Jedi and maybe kill a few Inquisitors that don't do their job properly and all, I just think that'd be really cool to see with Hayden. Any Hayden that we can get is fantastic. We know he's confirmed for the Ahsoka show, and if you've noticed, he's growing his hair out IRL. So I'm like, yeah, he's getting ready for some flashbacks, I think. So I think we're gonna get those Clone Wars flashbacks that we've all been hoping for in the Ahsoka show. But I would like to see more Vader, and I don't know if we're gonna get Vader in the Ahsoka show, because I don't know when the Ahsoka show is going to be based. I presume it's going to be based around the Mandalorian time, and not kind of the timeline of Obi-Wan, but we might get some flashbacks too around this time maybe as well, which kind of will interlink it together. So look, yeah, I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised coming out after this episode, because I had really low expectations, because I heard about leaks of what was going to happen a couple of months ago, and a lot of these leaks actually did turn out to be true. But I just think the stuff that they landed, they landed it so well that I can forget about the stuff that I didn't like. What did you guys think?
I, you know what, man? Like I didn't think they were going to stick the landing at all. I thought they were going to really like yuck it up and then try to get us to be like, oh, you know what? It's Reva. And they gave us a good chunk of Obi-Wan versus Vader. It's not Obi-Wan versus Anakin. It's Obi-Wan versus Vader. And that's one thing that I really enjoyed about it, because you think that it's going to be Anakin against Obi-Wan, but at the end of that climactic scene, it's like Anakin wasn't killed by Obi-Wan. Like, I killed him. And it's like, oh my God, he's trying to destroy that last bit of like, light side of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to get rid of that feeling, and it's just it's so emotional, and I love it. I just enjoyed that scene so much that I completely forgot about everything else in the episode at
Yeah.
that point. 'Cause it was
The
just like,
conflict was very well shown, and I think, like, you see Anakin with the red light on his face and then the blue light on his face, and you actually, if you look close enough, you see his eyes turning from blue to yellow, so he's like shifting between Sith and shifting back to Anakin. And I thought the way the direction of this show wasn't fantastic. I was actually, for most weeks we were kind of talking about it, and we were quite disappointed with how the show had gone. But in this episode, I feel like the direction was fantastic. Like, I think it was very well shot. It was very well told, and just, yeah, like, I just think the passion in Ewan McGregor's acting during that scene when he sees Anakin's face, like the tears in his eyes and everything. I was emotional watching that. Like, it was crazy. It was Ewan McGregor did such a fantastic job in that episode. I could not believe it. It was incredible.
Yeah, Ewan's definitely been the person who's like carried this entire show on his back, and like rightfully so. It's his show. The fight scene between Kenobi and Vader is some of the best lightsaber fighting I think we've seen. It's not like technically crazy like we saw in the prequels, but I feel like there was a lot of emotion going on in that fight scene. It was showing a lot what was going on inside of them. One of the things I love what the show did is that it finally, for me, bridged the gap between Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader. Because the entire time we see Vader, I never imagine Anakin inside the suit. I just don't picture him in there. I don't feel like it's Anakin. And this show really now made me picture Anakin in the suit. Him having that split open and them intertwining his voice and James Earl Jones for different lines of speaking was
so
just
good.
incredible.
Yeah,
Anakin
so
saying, it was fucking amazing, man. And Anakin saying that, when Obi-Wan calls him Anakin and he says, Anakin is no more, I am what remains, was one of the coldest lines I've ever heard in Star Wars. And it like solidified that like Anakin is in the suit for Vader. I can finally imagine it. And funnily enough, that's like the nicest thing the Vader's ever done for Obi-Wan in his entire life, because when he's like telling him like, you didn't kill me, I killed me. I killed Anakin.
Yeah.
It's like that weight is like taken off of Obi-Wan now. It's like, hey, thanks, man. You really did a favor for Obi-Wan by letting him know that. And so he could like relieve himself of all that grief. Because he's always carried that around for him.
Yeah.
And that's part of him like finally becoming a piece of the Force. It's like, Anakin did this to himself. You didn't do this, dude. Like, lay off yourself.
Yeah.
That being said, the pile of shit that is Reva's character just absolutely took a dumpster fire on this. I don't know why she was still in the show. I wish they would have ended her last episode. Everything they did with her and Luke felt so contrived, and like just trying so hard to make sure Luke doesn't see a lightsaber. Like, it's just, they're trying to walk that tightrope so hard that it made it feel not believable. I hated every part that Luke was in, aside from when Kenobi was like, hello there. She ruined everything. Like, her scenes are just bad for me. Like, she's the least compelling Star Wars character I've ever experienced in my life. She's right up there with Jar Jar, man. Like, I just like,
Yeah, I gotta agree.
Is the term shoehorning? Like, you're trying to like force them into the situation. Like, that felt so forced. Like, it's just not. It wasn't applicable. Like, it just leave that situation alone. Like, Reva ultimately not killing Luke, of course, because we all know that was going to happen. Like, of course. Well, like, what's the point of having Reva there in the first place then? Why don't you just leave Luke alone at this point? Like, Reva's done.
Yeah.
Have her pretend to be dead, come back later, and then like do the same thing with Boba. Like, oh, I came back at some point because it didn't hit a vital point, so I was able to heal myself up somehow with a bacta tank.
Yeah. Somehow she has a ship to get off that fucking planet in the first place. Somehow she has a ship and it can get to Tatooine like that. Like, she got to Tatooine faster than Darth Vader caught up with Obi-Wan. Like, it's mind blowing. Like, it's the Game of Thrones treatment at the very end where it's like everyone can just instantly teleport around everywhere.
Yeah.
Because of story. That's why. Like, it felt so weird and mistimed. And like, they have not shown us Luke this entire series. Like, we don't give a fuck about Luke in the show because of anything you've done in the show. We care about Luke because of A New Hope. So why are you trying to mess up A New Hope? Just leave Luke alone. Like, you don't want him for the rest of the show. Don't touch him now. Okay, please. Thank you.
Yeah. I gotta agree. So just a quick question off the back of the Obi-Wan and Vader stuff. So Do you think that Vader, or sorry, I know, obviously for continuity, Obi-Wan couldn't do this, but to make sense of the situation as it's happening, like, why didn't Obi-Wan kill Vader? Like, he says to Qui-Gon when he's on the ship, one of us is going to die today. This has to end now, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that he should have killed him? We know, obviously, he doesn't kill him, and he can't kill him because then, the OT is out the window. But, like, and I always think the same thing with Batman and the Joker. It's like every time Batman decides not to kill the Joker kills 100 more people, 1,000 more people. You know what I mean? And it's like Obi-Wan knows that he walks away. Yes, he's the victor. He's walked away. He's won. Vader's not a threat anymore. So he thinks like, okay, see you, Darth. Bye. But Vader's a threat to the rest of the galaxy. He's just not. He just can't beat Obi-Wan. So it's like, should he have let him go? And I know why. I understand in the show why they decided he would let him go. He pities him. It's like, you're no more a threat to me. But it's very irresponsible if you think about it, that he would let Vader go back, get healed up, have more anger and vengeance in him, and let him loose on the galaxy. What do you think?
Yeah. The reason why he would not kill him in like a story sense to me would be like, he just can't do it. He cannot bring himself to kill his former Padawan and like his brother. Like, he just can't do it.
Yeah.
As much as he wants to, he can't. I know in the novels of the episode 3 novels, Yoda's a lot harder on him than in the movies about Anakin turning, like, breaking him down. Like, hey man, you were warned. Like, we warned you about this. Yep. And like Obi-Wan's like falling to the ground because he can't believe it. So I think on the inside, he cannot, as much as he calls him Darth, like, he cannot bring himself to actually separate Anakin from that suit.
Yeah.
Right. I really think it's because, someone did die during that scene. And so like, that was supposed to be the, of course we see that climactic moment where he's like, I killed Anakin. And so when Obi-Wan's saying like, one person's going to die in this fight, Anakin is the one that dies. The two that are left standing are Darth Vader and Obi Wan Kenobi. Anakin is now dead. And I think that's why Obi-Wan's like, well, the person that I thought I was going to fight and possibly kill is gone. Mm-hmm. So then my brother is truly dead.
Yeah.
And so it's that moment of like walking away because he did his job.
That makes sense though, but you are unleashing Darth Vader onto the galaxy for the next 10 years where he's going to absolutely wreak havoc, so it's very irresponsible when you think about it. But yes, I understand. I could see from a story point why they're doing it.
And I also think there was a better moment to use Qui-Gon. Like, I think if Qui-Gon would have showed up there and told him not to kill, and told Kenobi not to kill him, I think that would have been a much better introduction. Like,
yes,
I know I told you to train him. They're still good in him.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to kill him here.
Yeah.
Like, we can still save him. I think that's a much cooler use of Qui-Gon than Qui-Gon showing up at the end,
and then,
which was amazing to see in the first place. But like, I think there's a better story element way to use Qui-Gon showing up for sure. And I think that's it.
I thought we were going to get Qui-Gon when he was under the rocks. I thought Qui-Gon might help him clear the rocks. And I thought maybe we might only hear his voice. I wasn't actually expecting to see Liam Neeson. I was praying that we would this whole time, but at the same time, I thought the guy isn't really acting right now. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe heard his voice but didn't actually see him. So that was what shocked me the most. I would have been shocked if he didn't show up in the show at all, but I thought it was only going to be voice. You know. Yeah, so it was fantastic.
What was Qui-Gon's philosophy on taking Anakin up as a Padawan? Like, what was his view again? Like, what did he believe in?
He was the chosen one, and the Jedi Council was like, "You're not going to train this guy." And Qui-Gon's like, "Fuck you! I'm going to train him. I'm going to do what I want. I'm Qui-Gon Jinn."
Yeah.
He was a very he was very loose with the Jedi Council. He kind of like just did his own thing. That's why they talk about Kenobi. He was like, "Hey, Master, you would have been on the Jedi Council. Hey, you not just been a fucking stubborn dick all the time." So like, Qui-Gon just does what he wants. He wanted Anakin. He wanted to train him.
Yeah, he believed truly in the prophecy, and that he would be like, that he had found the one that would bring balance to the Force. And I actually only watched a video very recently on what Palpatine, I think they explain it in one of the books, but Palpatine's interpretation of the prophecy was that Vader would come along and like the chosen one would be Anakin, who would become Vader, and that he would wipe out the Jedi and bring balance to the Force, which is the way it actually did happen. But he was like, the naivety of the Jedi to think that the prophecy is that they would bring balance to the Force and that the light would overtake, like, and you know, he took it in a more literal sense, and that's actually what happened. Because if you think about it, and well, I suppose for the tellings of the original trilogy, there was 2 Jedi left by the end of it, and there's 2 Sith, so it was technically balanced to the Force, you know. So yeah. I suppose now we know that there was a lot more Jedi out there hiding, and there's obviously all the Force-sensitive people, but
there's so many Jedi now.
Oh, it's crazy, dude. Yeah, there's so many Jedi. Yeah, there really is.
Like, oh man, if like 20 Jedi could have gotten together and maybe overthrew the Emperor, I don't know, maybe. I don't fucking understand, man.
Yeah. I suppose it leaves it open for a lot of story that, you know, that you could tell with Hayden as Vader. Like, you know, I think he was so strong as Vader, and the Vader scenes were so good to me that I just think, like, yeah, if we had 6 or 8 episodes or 10 episodes of just Vader going around hunting Jedi, it'd be like the Force Unleashed games where he takes on a new Padawan or something in secret against the Palpatine. Like, I just think that'd be so cool to see, like, and have Hayden there because he's itching to get back in. So use him while you can, I think. Yeah.
Real quick, Finto, what were all those leaks that you had looked at that you were hoping weren't true or hoping were true?
I'm actually not going to talk about it in this video. I'm going to talk about it in our series review video, which will be coming out later in the week.
There you go. I guess we should wrap it up there, man. Anything else for the series finale of Kenobi for you guys before we go?
No. Very strong. Just that, to summarize, I was so surprised by it, and I'm so happy for it that most of it went the way it did.
Yeah,
couple of gripes, but what can you do? Can't win them all.
Yeah, you know, honestly, I thought that we were going to see an alternate universe at the very end with like Reva, because I'm like, oh well, maybe Reva kills Luke, and then, you know, we get a completely different universe or something. Like that would be insane.
Don't trigger me, bro. Please don't trigger me.
All right, everyone. Before Fitness Trigger, we're gonna get out of here. If you guys enjoyed this discussion, make sure you leave a like on the video. If this is your first time here to the Marvelous Chats, make sure that you guys leave us a subscription. We post a lot of videos all week long covering all your nerdy news, everything you enjoy about like Star Wars, MCU, all that. Leave a subscription. We'll see you guys on the next video where we're going to be talking about Kenobi or the boys. I don't know. See you guys in the next one.
Have a good one.